Happy Thursday to you all. I hope you all had a fantastic week so far. I've had a great week. God is good all the time. All the time, God is good. Cannot complain. But yeah, happy Thursday, everybody. I'm so happy to be back here again with you all with another phenomenal testimony that is to come. As you all know, our guest for tonight is the lovely lady Wendy Shelton, and we already know she's going to give a very encouraging and uplifting testimony. I'm excited tonight to hear her testimony. I'm excited for you all to hear her testimony as well. Thank you to everybody who has joined us so far. Yes, thank you to everybody. You know, I'm anxious to call out names, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just say one big hello. But y'all know I love y'all. So thank y'all to everybody who are joining on Facebook and all of you who are joining on YouTube. I appreciate it. I thank God for each and every one of you. If you have not done so, go ahead and share this live to let somebody else know, hey, Women Who Rise is on again with another uplifting testimony. Go ahead and share. If you don't see somebody here that's normally here, go ahead and tag their name. Or if you know somebody who's never even heard of Women Who Rise, go ahead and tag them to let them know, hey, you know, it's sure to be something that's going to be said to uplift you and encourage you. And that's exactly why we're here tonight. I want to say thank you before I go any further to everybody who has shared the flyer for this week, everybody who has shared the post, or whether you just told somebody by word of mouth. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Y'all know I appreciate each and every one of you. I thank God for you all. And like I said, I'm excited about the testimony tonight of First Lady Wendy Shelton. I am going to give just a few more moments before I go ahead and bring her on screen. Thank you to everybody who's joining. I appreciate it. I love y'all so much. God is good. And if you are new to this channel tonight, we are Women Who Rise. We are here every Thursday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. I have a different woman every week, y'all, sharing their testimony of how God simply blessed them to rise. And y'all, our sole purpose is to help somebody else rise. If God did it for us, if he brought us out of that horrible place, if he brought us out of our low place, y'all, we just want to let you know he can do the exact same thing for you. I say it just about every single week. The Bible declares that God is no respecter of person. So if he did it for us, he can sure enough do it for you. So y'all be encouraged. And as I forestated, our guest for tonight is the lovely lady Wendy Shelton, who's going to share her testimony with us. And I am going to go ahead and bring her on screen so we can go ahead and get started. And everyone, there is our guest for tonight, the lovely lady Wendy Shelton. Y'all already know. Go ahead and put your hands together for her and give her a great big hand clap just to say thank you for being our guest tonight, for agreeing to come and share your beautiful testimony with us. We appreciate it. How are you, Lady Shelton? First off, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you for having me on tonight. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. I'm grateful to have you. I'm grateful that you said yes, that you accepted the invitation. I'm excited. I'm excited every week. I love hearing good testimonies, and I know yours is going to be great. So, before we get started, would you like to say anything to greet our viewers?
I want to say, I just thank you for tuning in. This is amazing. I think I've told you this before, but I absolutely love the concept of Women Who Rise. And so I think it's important, especially in this day and age, just to surround yourself with positive things. There's so much negativity out there. And so to actually get content and to see people who, in spite of adversity, rise. So I think I appreciate just, again, like I said, the opportunity.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. I love how you say it. It's good to see women who decide to rise in spite of their adversity. So
absolutely.
That's what we're all about. We're sharing the testimonies to let somebody else know that regardless of the adversity, the situation, the hardship, the trials, the circumstances, you can rise. It don't matter what you have been through. With the God, like the God that we serve, anything is possible. So you can rise. So I thank God for that. We thank God for you tonight. As I forestated, I was telling the viewers that you are a lovely woman of God. So I have no doubt that your testimony is going to be nothing short of amazing. I know it's going to be a blessing. I've heard you minister. You're a very encouraging person. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I want to say again to all the viewers, thank you all who have joined us so far. And I want to say again, if you have not done so, go ahead and share, hit the share button so somebody else can see that Women Who Rise, that we are here with another phenomenal testimony tonight. Tag somebody, let somebody know, hey, y'all come hear this testimony tonight. I'm excited. I hope you all are excited as well. We're going to go ahead and get started. Lady Wendy Shelton, I always start with the first question of, when you first hear the phrase Women Who Rise, what are your first thoughts?
Wow. When I hear that, I think of women who all the things that I'm going to say, in spite of gravity. Gravity is designed to hold you down, right? To keep you grounded. So in spite of everything that's pulling and holding you down, you have decided to get up. You have decided to move forward. You have decided to rise. And I think when I hear that, Women Who Rise, I think of that, that in spite of, like I said, adversity, in spite of challenges, you've chosen to take that challenge and turn that into a lesson and an opportunity. I think so often we look at challenges as a negative thing. We look at it as something that can really just kind of hold us down or hold us to a hostage, really. And so it's important for us to really just look at those challenges as this is an opportunity, one, for me to grow, and for me to get better, and I think so many times when I hear Women Who Rise, I see people who have used those opportunities and decided to grow. Mm-hmm. You go higher and higher, right? You just don't stay there. And so that's what I think about. I love that. Allowing the challenges to really put you in a place where you really see God holy and just look, what's the lesson? What's your will? Mm-hmm. And I think who are overcoming is really looking at looking things from a perspective of what's God's will for my life. And when you walk in his will, everything will fall in place. It may not look like what you wanted, right? But if it's in his will is greater than our dreams and our hopes. And so I think it's very important, especially as a woman, to just really place your hands in God's hand and allow him to lead you forward.
Yes, ma'am. I 100% agree with everything that you said. I love when you first started talking, how you said a woman who chooses to rise regardless of everything that's pulling us down. And we know as women, there's so many things out there that pull at us. And it's easy just to sink, down, to succumb to the pressures of life. But I love how you said, we choose to rise regardless of what. And you know what? It takes a woman with a lot of strength, a woman with some determination, to keep rising, like you said, against the things that are designed to pull us down. And I know we've said it several times on here that rising is a choice.
It is.
You have to choose to rise daily while you're looking in the face of that thing that's saying, I'm gonna pull you down anyway.
It is.
So
it is a choice. And that's some of the things you really have to kind of remind yourself, especially when you're going through challenges, you want to sit in the moment. You want to sit in the challenge. And sometimes that's good, because sometimes you have to realize, especially if you bump your head, that, okay, this may not be the way I need to go. Right. So sometimes you have to sit in that, stay there. And I think a person who is an overcomer decides that I'm not going to stay there. I'm not going to stay in the challenge. I'm not going to stay in what should have held me down, And I think when I think of adversity, when I think of anything that is designed to really challenge you, it's designed to put pressure. A common phrase is pressure busts pipes. That's true. Right. It does. But there are some pipes that's designed to withstand the pressure. And I think it's just being able to realize which one are you. And so everything that God has allowed to happen in our lives, everything that happens that we feel like, ooh, why is this happening? It's not happening to you, it's happening for you. Some of
Yeah.
those things are designed for you to get better. Some of those things are designed for you to challenge those things. A lot of times we think that when we get saved and filled with the Holy Ghost, that yes, that's it, I arrived. But no, that's really when the work begins. You know,
Right.
God really begins to work.
Mm-hmm.
On to you know, there was a song, I absolutely love this song. I'm not gonna sing it though, but there was a song that says, have you been tried in the fire,
That's
and
it.
did you through as pure gold? Well, a lot of times we think tried in the fire. Well, fire is hot.
Mm-hmm.
It tests you, it draws out those, one of those things that God does, you know, when we are tested and we are tried, he allows, while he's keeping us through
Mm-hmm.
those things, he also allows any impurities that we may not know of to be drawn out of our life. And so that's how we rise. We begin to allow all those things that maybe we're not aware of. We begin to work through and work within and work on ourselves to get better, so that we can continue to live for God. We continue to live our best lives. So I'm amazed just at
Yes.
yeah, I'm gonna say the anatomy of a trial. It's amazing how things to challenge us,
Mm.
but it's only to make us better.
Right, right. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love how you said it's not happening to you, it's happening for you.
Yeah.
And it's so hard sometimes to see how a certain trial or a situation can be happening for us when
Right.
all it feels like is everything bad is happening to us. You reminded me of a scripture where David said it was good for me that I had been afflicted,
Absolutely.
that I may learn
Yeah.
his statutes. And it seemed like at the time it's like, how is this good for me? Or what was David talking about? This was good for me. Is he correct?
Right.
But when we look back over our lives, it's like, oh God, I'm glad I had to go through that to get to where I am right now today. So, I feel like once we grow in God and we mature more and we get to, a better place, then we really can look back and say that, it wasn't happening to me. God was really working that thing out for me.
Exactly. It's
I
all
love
about your perspective. It's all about your
it.
perspective. When I even look at this month, I was thinking about when, you know, even when you asked me to come on, I was thinking of God, how God has brought me through. And I was like, what's one of the things that I can say? And fear was definitely one of them. Not of, there was the fear of failure. There's the fear of, you know, be myself. Is that enough? You know, it's something that I really had to give to God and to really overcome. And I think about how 1:7 talks about, for God has not given us a spirit of fear.
Right.
And well, if God hasn't given that to us, then who has? You know, and so it's really identifying the root cause. Where's this code to work within in order to rise? You got to work on those things that are holding you down, those weights, those strongholds, those things. And so my challenge was to begin to identify, where is this fear coming from and why am I believing it? Because so often things can be presented to you, the thought can be there.
Mm-hmm.
So is this true? Why am I believing it? Is this a myth, or is this the truth? And a lot of times we have to weigh those thoughts in the balance,
Mm-hmm.
and decide, what are we willing to accept? What are we willing to really kind of allow and to deal with? And so for me, my testimony is really kind of fear versus God's will.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is this what, you know, God wants me to do? And am I enough to do it? And the reality of it is, if God called you to something, if he understand that he's going to prepare you for it, he'll make sure that you have all the necessary tools to be successful. Now it's up to you to pick up the tools. He'll
Right.
present it to you, right? We always talk about, you can and make them drink. That's the truth. So even with the tools that God gave us, sometimes we can talk ourselves out of using the tools that he's giving us.
That is so true.
We can do that.
Right, right.
Yeah. So it's up to us to make that choice and that decision to really say, I can do this. If God brought me to this, I can do it. One of my favorite scriptures absolutely love is Philippians 4:13. And
Yeah.
it says, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. And I'm like, well, God, you have given me the strength to do this. Well, okay, I can get through it.
Yeah.
And that's not sometimes making that choice and deciding that I can get through it. You decide to be an overcomer. You decide to be victorious. So I'm still going to be victorious. Even if I feel like I don't have the strength to stand, if God brings me to this, I know he will allow me to defeat this. And so I absolutely have just cherished my walk with God. God has really been my one constant in my life. When and go, situations may come and go. One of the things that has been my one constant has been God. And so I think he has allowed me to really just grow in him and just really just enjoy him. And I think that's the beauty of just having a relationship with God. So that is my testimony, really, to overcome fear, which can be staggering.
Yeah.
And really to walk in his will.
Yes, ma'am. And I love that. So while we're on that topic, can you share with us a time in your life where you came to your defining moment? Like you said, it was fearful for you. So can you share us, with us a testimony of that time in your life when you faced that fear and it challenged you? And not only that, can you tell us how you chose to rise from that fear?
There were a couple of moments, I think, in my life that were kind of like that pivotal point. One, I can think of an early part as I was graduating from college. I was thinking what I was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
What was I was graduating with my bachelor's, and I was like, okay, now what? This is the thing that was just kind of a pinnacle point. I've got this. Now what? And I just remember saying, okay, God, I know everything works together for your good. I had all these aspirations. I wanted to go to nursing school. I wanted to be this, but it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
By
Mm-hmm.
I did well in that. So that was a challenge
Mm-hmm.
for me. And then I realized one of my friends, I never forget, she began to tell me, well, after college, this, I'm going to go work on my master's for counseling. And I was like, really? And she said, yeah. To kind of think about counseling. Amazingly enough, I began to God, I just talked to God, like, because I wanted him to always direct my life, direct my path, especially my professional career. What was I going to do? And he began to just kind of like, things began to fall in place, even with the counseling program at my school. And I started taking classes even before I was accepted into the program, just like you can take a couple of classes and see if it's for you.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a fit. And I realized that all the qualities that I had and all the fear that I had was, maybe my voice, people can't hear my voice. Maybe listener. So, all these things that maybe I need to talk more, all those things fell into place, in counseling, because you have to listen.
Right.
You have to be able to be a good listener and to pull out things. And so for me, that was a pivotal point in my life, because it allowed me to really see God and allow God to really kind of, when he did, everything fell into place, from being accepted into the program, from, just internship, amazingly enough, everything fell into place. And even during that time, my husband and I, we got married, and I ended up moving from Louisiana to Texas. And so looking for as an LPC supervisor to kind of finish my licensure was I was thinking it was going to be this huge issue, but it wasn't. At a certain point, my employer was paying for my licensure, and I didn't even have to pay it out of pocket, paying for my supervisor. So I think there are certain things that fall into place
Mhm.
or realize it at the time, but it's just things are just falling in place. Like things are just falling into order. So that was definitely a point for me that I was just like, okay, all right, my uncertainty is just definitely yours. You had already figured it out, God. Just the
Right.
plan and path for my life. That's one. The other thing that's happened so much
Mhm.
was with my children. My husband and I got married. It just never happened for us to have children. And God really proved himself in my life after just really, I believe it was 13 years. We never had, it just never happened. And then out of the blue, God just blessed. But that point to get, I feel like that was pivotal because every Mother's Day, I would cry.
Wow.
I would cry because that was a point of just, I felt sad, it's like I wanted to be a mom, and all those things. It just never happened. And I got to a point that it would kind of make me depressed, really, to be honest. And so my sisters, my sister-in-law, I was invited this Mother's Day, their children are celebrating them. And I realized that instead of crying about it, instead of allowing myself to just totally fall into this state of sadness, start celebrating them. And so at that point, when I began to start celebrating them, I stopped looking at what was kind of like that. I started looking at it as a day of celebration. Let me get them a card, or let me just get all excited for them, And then pretty soon, my god kids start, just celebrating. I said, okay, but God knew that point in my life where I began to accept, God, whatever your will is, I'm just going to be happy for whatever happens. When I tell you, that's when God blessed us, with my son. And then shortly after, then another. And I was like, thank you. That's enough, Jesus. But I just want to say that, no, God, you did a lot. But I just want to say though, I think those are pivotal points in my life. So I'm going to tell you why I'm laughing, because it's just the humor of God. When we begin to look at something that's like totally negative and something that really takes us from a state of sadness, when we change our perspective, when we change what we're doing, and realize that, okay, I can stay this way, or I can get up and change. I can do something. And I think so many times, adversity, so many times we think that, okay, well, I just have to accept this. No, I don't have to accept this. I can rise above it. I can go through it. I can get better from it. Yes. And so I look at all those points in my life, just a couple of points in my life, when it's deciding on my profession, or when it's deciding on sense of what seemed like was heartbreak for me, how God just turned that around, how he will change your sorrow, into joy. And I think sometimes we don't think of what's going to happen afterwards. We don't see after the sorrow or after the season of whatever it is. And so oftentimes the things that we experience are just, and we don't look at the fact that they have to end. Right. We just see them as, this is my forever point. And no, God has a bird's eye view of what we're going through. Yes. We just see where we at in the storm, but he's looking above and saying, if you just hold on. Yes. Just hold on just a little while longer. Yes. And sometimes we could be at the end of our challenge and right at the end of our storm, and we let go or we stop. And we don't realize that when we stop, that's when we don't get to experience the joy of victory. We just get to experience defeat. Wow. And that doesn't taste good. It doesn't feel good. But that's one of the reasons why, no matter what we go through, we have to decide to choose. How am I looking at this? Right. I got to make the right choice on this. Right. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. What's the lesson? That's what I always ask. What's the lesson? And there's always a lesson. Always. You have to be able to look at things from a viewpoint of growth. We have to have a growth mindset. And in order to do that, we have to be able to look at what's the lesson. I'm forever learning. How do I grow from this? What's the lesson? Yeah.
Wow. You just have so much, I don't know the right word, so much grace and like experience as you're talking. Like, you know what you're talking about. Just listening to you, it's obvious you went through it, and like you're talking about learning the lesson from it. It's obvious talking to you that you actually learned the lesson. You know, you're not just saying you got to go through learn the lesson. It's you learned the lesson. It's obvious. You can hear it in your voice. You learned it, and now you can help somebody else learn the lesson. So I thank God for it. You said so much that, and you saw me. I was trying to keep up with you. I was writing. I was writing, trying to keep up with you. You said so much, so many things that I feel are just good for everyday life.
Yeah.
You know, I just
spend so much time with distractors. We can. And that's the problem. I think sometimes we can spend so much time on things that really don't matter.
That's true.
And so it's good to really, that's one of the reasons why it's important to seek God, especially for the will. And that's why I said fear versus God's will.
Right.
Because fear will allow us those distractions, which keeps us from our destination. And so it's important just to realize you can waste so much time on things that really won't matter. And something that I often say especially to my clients is when they have a problem is you can look at this as a 5-minute problem or a 5-hour problem. Or 5-day problem. Like, what's your perspective on this? Because some things we exhaust so much energy on, they really don't matter. At the end of the day. So it's really focusing on what matters.
I got so many good little nuggets from you tonight already. I love it. You said, you know, you don't have to accept adversity. You can choose to rise above it. I love how you said God will turn your sorrow into joy. And you said earlier, you have to decide to overcome. And I love how you kept pointing out our perspective, that it's all about how we view it, how we see it. And, you know, that's so important. You know, a lot of times we can see things in such a negative way. You know, the devil will have us, all we see is one side of the trial. Like you said, God has that bird's eye view of the situation. You know, he sees us on the other side of the storm. He sees us on the other side of the trial. He sees us already walking in victory, you know, but a lot of times the devil just have us, all we see is what we're going through. It's hard, God. It hurts right now. It's hard. This is unfair. Why me? Why now? You know, like Apostle preached, why me? Why now? And that's all we can see. But I love how you said, you know, when you just trust God and you rely on him, victory is guaranteed. It just is. And I thank God for it. I want to ask you, Lady Shelton, what would be your advice tonight to, I know you talked about that fear versus God. And I was excited to get to this question. What would be your advice? What would you tell that individual tonight, both male and female, who because we all know, we'll just be honest, fear is real. And when it comes, listen, you can't deny that it comes, because it hits us all at the drop of a hat, you know, and that sometimes that fear will grip us and it will try to paralyze us to where we can't do nothing in God. We can't, you know, work to our full potential. So what would you say to that person tonight who is in that place of where literally it's fear versus God, and they're having a hard time? They know God is real. They know, like you said, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. But at the same time, that fear, that can be so strong and it's gripping. So what would be your advice to that person to rise above that fear?
I would say, don't be afraid to do the work on yourself. Don't be afraid to do it. And I think so often when you look in the mirror and you don't like what you see, don't be afraid to change it. And so sometimes we look, well, I'm not supposed to be going depressed. I'm not supposed to be anxious. I'm not supposed to be stressed. You're human. You're going to go through that. So when you do get those feelings, do the work within. What's the root cause of it? What's really going on? Sometimes we can ignore what's really going on and fake it till we make it. And the truth of the matter is, This is the ninth hour, and we can't keep faking it till we make it.
That's
We have to
right.
be ready.
That's right.
And so we have to be ready.
Mm.
So in order to be ready, you have to take an inventory of all the things. If something isn't right, fix it.
That's it.
If something isn't right, fix it. Have the courage to make the change. And so I would say do the work within. Do the things that if you're dealing with stubbornness, if you're dealing with, rebellion, whatever it is, do the work within. What's the root cause of that? Why are you doing what you're doing? And so being able to ask yourself and to face yourself in the mirror is sometimes the hardest thing, because sometimes you can feel like you look one way or everything's right until you face the mirror and you realize. And sometimes that can come in the form of a hard wall. You realize, why is this always happening to me? Sometimes it's not the other person. Sometimes it's you. And so you have to realize, sometimes it's you. And so you have to be ready to do the work and to work within. So in order to overcome fear and to get down to the root of it, what's the cause? What's hindering me? What's my thought processes? What can I change to change my environment, to create a culture of positivity? And I'm not talking about toxic positivity where, your hand is falling off and you like, it's well. No, let's go bandage that up so we can keep going.
Right.
So we can let's own where we at. And I think sometimes when you have the ability to even call things out for, if you're going through something, you know what, I am depressed, but I got the victory over that, and I'm going to do some things so that I don't have to stay depressed. So it's just being able to use the tools that are available to help. So do the work within.
Yeah.
Do the work. Yeah. And don't be afraid of it.
Yes, ma'am. I love it. I love that last little part you said. Just do the work on yourself. We don't have time to work on nobody else. I don't have time to go to your house and tell you what's dirty, what you need to clean up. I got to keep my own house clean. So I love how you said be willing to take a hard look in the mirror and see what is wrong and be willing to do the work to fix it. Absolutely. I love it.
Absolutely. And I think it's important that you have people around you that are honest with you, to tell you that that's true. So for me, it was having, my parents, my core group of friends. You have these friends that no matter what, they're like your roots. So it don't matter wherever you go. You may not talk for a while, but when you come back, y'all right there together. You're just together, and they will tell you the truth. I think it's important to surround yourself with people that will tell you not what you want to hear, but the truth about what's going on.
That's right. That's right.
Something is off. I want somebody to be able to tell me, hey, that's not quite right. You need to do something, and not being afraid of that. So often, I look at, sometimes on social media, they'll have the picture, the reality, and someone's posed so perfectly. And then they have, Instagram versus reality,
right.
And that social media area of, okay, I want everything to match up. So in order for that reality to be the picture, there's some work that has to go through, so you're going to go through things. That's the thing. Sometimes, like I mentioned earlier, or actually you kind of said it, like, why me? Why do I have to go through? But you know what? Why not you?
Exactly.
Yeah. You have the tools to get through it. You can go through this. It's going to challenge you, and you're going to get better, or you're going to keep going through it. Right. And so you have to decide, I can get better. I can grow from this. I can get through this. And so something that I often do is called thought stopping. So when you have that ruminating, I can't do this, or I will fail at this, you begin to challenge that and begin to say, what's the truth in that? No, that's not true. That's not going to happen. I can make it. Right. I am an overcomer. Yeah. Why? Because the word says I am. Because God says I am. And if he said it, and he's the one who created the world, then what? Yeah. You have to believe. So you have to make a choice. I choose to believe God. So if he believes in me, guess what? I better follow suit. I'm going to have to believe in myself. Come on, point to yourself. I got to believe it. So,
Yes.
yes, so we're going to do this. We're going to rise.
Yes.
So that's what I would say. Do the work within.
Yes. Oh, I love it. Oh, God is good. I'm encouraged tonight. I am. I don't even have to ask viewers if you were encouraged. I know you all are. I'm encouraged to do the work within. And like you said, if God said you can do it, then guess what? I say I can do it too. So
That's right.
God is awesome, y'all. I'm encouraged tonight. Viewers, oh my God. Y'all know I'm going to ask if you were encouraged by the testimony, the powerful, yet so encouraging, strengthened, loving, kind, humble testimony of Lady Wendy Shelton. Go ahead and put your hands together for her. Let's give her a great big round of applause tonight just for taking our time to come and encourage us. To come in, I feel like you gave us a gentle reality check tonight. You let us know it's okay to look yourself in the mirror, to fix what's wrong, to have those people in our lives who are going to be honest with us and not just tell us what we want to hear, but tell us what we need to hear. So you gave us some really good, gentle reminders tonight. And I love how you were honest and said, it's okay to do the work on yourself. You know, a lot of times we feel ashamed to say, oh, I'm a work in progress. And no, it's okay. It's okay to say you're a work in progress. You ain't got to be a work in progress forever. But if you're there right now, yes.
That's right. And I think that's the perspective to have. You know, it's just, yeah, I am a work in progress, but now I'm not going to stay in this state of defeat. That's just not where I'm staying. Oh, so that's where I make that choice, you know. So to be able to speak those things that the Bible, I am an overcomer. Even if you feel like you can't put one foot in front of the other, take a step. Like, you know, if you can't crawl, what does it say? Walk. If you can't walk, run. You know, well, if you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But by all means, keep moving. And that's what we have to have, like that strength to keep going. Because God wants us to fight. And He's given and He's equipped us with the tools to fight. We just have to pick them up.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, I love it. Y'all pick up your tools and fight tonight. Like Wendy, God already gave you the tools. You just got to pick it up. Ain't no need of having a car that you ain't gonna drive.
Come on.
A gun, you ain't got no bullets. I mean, you can't go in a battle without a sword. I mean, a police officer with no gun, that's a rental cop. You know, God gave you the tools. Pick them up and put it to work. Do the work like she said tonight. One more time, give Lady Wendy Shelton a great big hand clap. I thank God for you. Like I said, you have encouraged Women Who Rise tonight. I have no doubt the viewers were encouraged. Anybody that's going to come at a later time and watch, they're guaranteed to be encouraged, to get up and do something. If all they do is get up and start working on themselves, hey, that's a start. You got to start somewhere. So God is good. So thank you again, Lady Wendy Shelton, for just sharing your beautiful testimony with us tonight. I told you, I think a million times, I appreciate it. I thank God for you. I thank God for you agreeing to come and just take out the time just to share with us what God has done in your life and let us know that He can do it for us too. So I appreciate it. I want to say thank you to all the viewers that are watching tonight, whether you're watching on Facebook, whether you're watching on YouTube, whether you're going to come and watch at a later time after this airs. Thank you. Thank y'all so much. We have been encouraged tonight to keep rising. And again, if you have not done so, go ahead and share this testimony. I say every week, these testimonies, they're too good for us not to share them with somebody else. So y'all go ahead and hit the share button. And so somebody else can come and experience what we have experienced through the testimony of Lady Wendy Shelton tonight. Again, it's too good to keep it to ourselves, y'all. We got to help somebody else rise, both male and female. So again, Lady Shelton, we love you. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. I was looking forward to hearing your testimony, especially at that last question. I knew you had something even greater to say. So
I love what you're doing. So keep going, keep doing it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. We're out of time tonight, you all. Oh, y'all know I don't like being out of time. I just want to keep when somebody get to talking about what God has done for them, how he blessed them to rise, I just want to hear more of it. But like I always tell y'all, I want y'all to come back next week and see more Women Who Rise. So for that reason, I got to let y'all go. But you all know we will be back next week, Thursday, 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. I will let you all know on Monday who our guest will be for next week. So y'all stay tuned for that. A sweet woman of God that's going to share her testimony. Until then, you all have a wonderful weekend. I love y'all. And don't forget, like Lady Wendy Shelton said, get in the mirror, take a hard look at yourself, and be willing to do the work that is required. We love y'all. Y'all have a wonderful night. See y'all on next week. God bless and good night.